Hey guys, it's Jenny. This is going to be a really kind of emotional video tonight, so if that kind of thing is not your thing, you might want to skip it. It was already going to be a video where I talked about a lot of feelings I was having lately, and then this morning I found out that a college friend and housemate of mine passed away. And while it wasn't someone that I was super close to, she was a really special person. And she was, I mean, people say that people were lights in the world, right? But she was the kind of person that when she came into a room, like everybody smiled. She was larger than life and she fought really hard for equality. And honestly, I think the people that make the most difference in the world are the people that spend their lives dedicated to that. And she was really passionate about it. So she'll be very much missed. And because I've been kind of taking that in all day, I'm already predisposed to be more emotional, obviously. So I apologize in advance if this isn't the most cheerful video. I do have some good news. This feels so unimportant now in context, but I always give weight updates. So this is my week 32 post-op VSG update. It's Friday, November 6, 2015. Last Friday I was 360 pounds or 163.3 kilos. Today I'm 355.4 pounds or 161.2 kilos. So a loss of 4.6 pounds, 2.1 kilos this week. You guys know how I feel about hitting 350. If you watched my video about that, about why 350 is so important to me. So 355, I'm getting very close. That'll be really momentous when it happens. Quick number recap. My high weight was 600 pounds, 272.1 kilos in January 2014. Date of surgery, which was 28 March 2015, I was 488.2 pounds, 221.4 kilos. Total weight loss so far, 244.6 pounds, 111 kilos. Total weight loss since surgery, 132.8 pounds, 60 kilos. So obviously a very good loss this week, which I'm happy about. And I had promised to talk to you guys this week about some protein staples. I'd hoped to get some ideas from other people. I didn't get as many ideas as I was hoping for, but I did steal one. My friend Alicia posted a video, which I'll link to below, and one of the things that she reviewed was stacked cheese and meat snacks, the white cheddar and salami flavor. Seems like little sticks of cheese and meat together with different flavors to them would be very convenient, very low carb, very high protein, so it's probably a good choice. She did say there are 10 grams of protein, 2 carbs, and she mentioned somebody mentioned them being available. Oh, Rob mentioned them being available at Walmart and Circle K. I don't know where else you can find them, but you can watch her video with that link below. Oh, and I wanted to show you something I picked up this week. In Woolworths, they obviously have the deli section, and then they have the seafood section. This is for my Aussies, obviously. And in the seafood section, they have this. It's created with Jamie, like Jamie being Jamie Oliver. You Aussies already know that, I'm sure. Orange and black pepper smoked salmon. It's ready to eat. It's slices of salmon. And the idea is you can just tear them and add them to salad. But what I did with them is I put some cream cheese on them. I sliced some green onions and I sprinkled some flaked almonds on them, and I rolled them all up, and it was very delicious and very good and very protein rich and very easy to eat because salmon is nice and soft. I did try the Protein Bread Company protein bread that we got from Health Nuts. I actually like it a lot. And I meant to get the stats for that for you, but that's also very low carb. I think less than 2 grams a slice. And I think 8 or 10 grams of protein, somewhere around there. Either way, the ratio of protein to carbs is very good. I only ever eat one slice of it, but and it's a very small, thin slice, which is good for me also. But I like it when I want when I just need to add something that's a little extra protein and I want bread, that's the perfect way to do it. So we're going to go get some more of that tomorrow, actually. I've also been using rotisserie chicken, which I buy obviously already fully cooked at the store, and then I just come home, take it apart, divvy it up into bags, label the bags with the quantity in them, um, and different frozen fishes, canned tuna, canned salmon, canned chicken, and cheese. This is stuff that I try to keep around and available for whenever I need it because like we also make low carb, high protein recipes, and so I usually have leftovers from there from those too. But I like to have the stuff I can just grab for whatever meal. Honorable mentions. I had said that I wanted these items to be um, at least two like 2 grams of carbs or less and 5 grams of protein or more. Um, so these things don't quite fit the what I said, but I wanted to share them anyway because the protein carb ratio is really good. Quest chips. Quest, the same people that make the protein bars, they make chips, and we found some of those at the health food store. They're not the tastiest thing in the world. They definitely in my experience with them, they melt in your mouth in kind of a weird way. Like after you crunch them up, they kind of melt into what I feel is like a protein powder texture. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but they have like 25 grams of protein and like 5 grams of carbs. And they are very easy to eat. Obviously chips are a slider food, so you want to stay away from real chips because you can eat those really easily, but you can also eat these really easily. So, on days when I want something with some crunch to it, those seem to be a good option for me now. It won't be something we're buying all the time, but it is something we're going to get more of tomorrow. And oh, we bought some SciTech coffee protein, um, and it's a whey protein concentrate instead of like a whey concentrate instead of a whey protein isolate. And typically, whey protein concentrates are not absorbed quite as well as whey protein isolates, so you're not getting quite as much out of them as isolates. And they're also a little rougher on the stomachs of people who are lactose intolerant or have issues with lactose. So just be aware of that if you do. I don't, fortunately. And I'm also I'm doing well enough with getting protein from food that I don't have to really worry that the whey protein concentrate might absorb a little bit less than the isolate. I'm still getting plenty of protein from it, and it gives me a little caffeine boost in the morning. And yeah, the flavor is not bad. It's fairly neutral. It is a coffee flavor, which I've always found coffee to be somewhat bitter. I need to have milk, sweetener of some kind in it to be able to handle it. But what I've been doing with it is putting some sugar-free Torani syrup in it to get some of the bitterness, to kind of neutralize the bitterness, and then using a little bit of whipped cream, actually. And before anybody goes crazy, because there's been some whipped cream shaming on Facebook lately, whipped cream is actually very low sugar. Like I'm talking about the aerosol cans. It's actually very low sugar, like surprisingly low sugar. There's fewer carbs in it and less sugar in it than skim milk. Okay. And for a big serving of it, it's like 59 calories or something like that. So, and that's like twice a normal serving. So, um, at least the kind of whipped cream I use it's just the Woolies store brand Woolly Select whipped cream. And as far as I know, other whipped cream aerosols have very similar stats. So you don't have to be afraid of it. If I were out of whipped cream, I would use milk instead, but milk has more carbs, so I'd have to be more careful with that. Yeah, so I've just been, shaking that all up, and it's been very tasty. And it's been helping me get even more protein than I was before, so that's good. I've been getting 60 to 70 average. Now I'm getting 70 to 90. So some people say you don't want to get too much protein, but um, I I actually, if you look at how much you're supposed to get based on your body weight, there are some people who say just 60 minimum period for everybody, and there are others say base it on your body weight. If you base it on my body weight, I'm supposed to be getting a lot more protein than I am. So I'm definitely getting more than the minimum, and I'm getting what my surgeon's dietitian told me was the minimum. I'm being careful to at least get that, but more protein is probably very good for me. Um, and let's see. Um, Oh, my husband called me one morning this week. In his office was having a carnival kind of thing, and he asked me if I wanted him to bring home some fairy floss, what Aussies call fairy floss, cotton candy, and because he knows I love it. And I actually said no. I was pretty proud of myself for that. Uh, I have an easy time not buying things when I go to the store, but if something's put in front of me, I have a harder time saying no to it. And somebody offering me something is basically the same thing as putting it in front of me, almost. So I was proud of myself for saying no. And then he brought home candy, and it was like jelly beans or something. I took like one jelly bean and one M&M, and then was like, okay, throw the rest out, which he did. So, yeah, very proud of myself because it was Halloween, and even though Halloween's not as huge here, that was all the candy I had was a jelly bean and an M&M. So I think I did pretty well. Okay, so now I'm gonna get to the emotional part. I put a comparison picture together this week, um, and it was a picture of the last time I wore a dress, which had been one of my favorites. Um, I didn't know it was going to be the last time I wore it when I wore it out, but it kept falling down off my back, like, and showing things that didn't need to be showing in public. So it was just too big, and so it has to be retired. And I looked at that photo when I got the comparison from me in 600 pounds of that dress and me now in that dress, and it just, the difference was so noticeable that I couldn't really, like, I couldn't mentally brush it off. It was just like a what the heck kind of moment for me. Um, and like whenever I would see people do comparison pics before I started doing them myself, I always thought it was just kind of like they wanted to celebrate how well they were doing. It was a little bit of, justified bragging. Um, but now I understand that, like, since that picture, I have more of an understanding that it's really to help you wrap your head around it, because wrapping your head around your weight loss can be one of the hardest things. I looked at that pic and I saw how small it was, and I thought, this doesn't feel right. Like, this can't be me, because, like, weight loss is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be miserable the entire time you're going through it. You're supposed to be constantly hungry. You're supposed to be unhappy. You're supposed to feel like you're making sacrifices. Other people are supposed to be flaunting food in front of you, and you're supposed to be miserable that you can't eat it. Like, that to me is what the weight loss process has always been. It shouldn't be this easy. So being confronted with this picture, it was like, either this isn't really happening, either this isn't reality, which obviously it is, or something's different this time. And obviously the something different is the surgery, right? So it's like, I feel like I don't deserve accolades or acknowledgments for my weight loss, because surgery has to be the reason that it's different this time and I'm not miserable. It's not me. It's not anything that I'm doing. It's the surgery. And also, in addition to that, I'm very aware of how much privilege I have when it comes to my weight loss that I didn't have before, and how much support I have that I didn't have before. When I was 600 pounds, I couldn't cook for myself, so I ate a lot of takeout. I couldn't stand long enough to really cook. And when I moved here, my husband started cooking for me, and he's an excellent cook, and I'm a terrible cook, so it made sense anyway. But to have somebody cooking healthy for me, I just naturally started losing weight without having to really do anything. And I was walking around Sydney more because Sydney's more of a walking culture. And that's a privilege too, to be somewhere where everybody doesn't drive everywhere. It forces you to walk, it forces you to get more exercise and to get fitter. Um, and in a way, that is a privilege. I also went from having a $75 a month food budget. Yeah, I survived on $75 a month for food, where I couldn't afford to get fresh, healthy stuff that was good for me. Like all I could afford was processed, cheap, like whatever was on sale and I had a coupon for. And like I couldn't look at what the nutritive value of food was. I had to look at what I could buy. This is before I was having to start eating takeout because I couldn't cook anymore. But you get the idea. Like I'm not, and then once I did move to having takeout, I sort of had to like go to the dollar menu items because I couldn't afford anything more than that. And those are like the worst of the worst most of the time. I did always try to get a salad or something at least so that I had some vegetables with the crap that I was eating, but obviously it doesn't cancel it out. I've also been able to take time off of work to really like learn how to eat with the surgery. I got to make, for a while, I got to make eating and drinking my job, like figuring out how to eat, figuring out how to drink. A lot of people don't have that. They have to go right back to work. And it's really easy when you're in an environment with lots of people bringing in food and sharing things like that. And, you know, you're constantly surrounded by junk food or donuts or whatever. It's a lot harder, I think. And I haven't had to go through that. Um, I was financially able to have the surgery. It wasn't something we just had pocket change laying around for, obviously. It was something we um, had to plan for, but I had access to it. Like a lot of people don't have access to it. Um, I've had my husband's support. He's been largely very good about not bringing junk food into the house, not tempting me with things that I can't eat. Um, and I know there are a lot of people who have kids and husbands who insist on having the stuff in the house for themselves. And I've been in a situation like that. I was raised in a situation like that. And it's so much harder to lose weight and to stay away from it when it's in the house. Um, and, you know, and also I've had access to therapy, which honestly I think is one of the most helpful things that I've set myself up with, both pre and post surgery. I don't think I'd be doing nearly as well dealing with the mental stuff surrounding it if it weren't for that. So you have all these factors. None of them are things that I'm responsible for. Um, and this is why I feel like my weight loss, this is why it's weird for me sometimes to accept compliments on my weight loss because I feel like I haven't earned it. And I understand that that's sad and that's not how I should feel and that I need to work on that and I will be working on that. But it is how I feel. And I need to be honest about that because I know I'm not the only one that feels like that. Um, I think if I didn't have all those privileges that I just named and all the support that I just talked about, oh, and speaking of support, like my husband, who's been totally, I mean, your body goes through so many changes. You go through so many um, physical things as you're losing all this weight. And he's been nothing but great and supportive the whole time. And I think if I hadn't had all these things and all this support, and I don't think I could have done it, you know. I think had I done this 3 years ago when I was in the same environment I was in before with the same limitations, I don't think I would have been as successful. Um, so I'm very aware and very grateful for everything that I have and that I've been given, and that, um, you know, I'm very grateful. Um, and speaking of, yeah, I just like I was saying, I expect weight loss to be miserable, and it hasn't been for me. But speaking of miserable, I've seen people posting on various Facebook groups who are 150, 175, 200 pounds with no comorbidities, no health issues, talking about how miserable they were at that size. And I used to get angry at that almost because it's like these people have no concept of what it's like to live at 600 pounds, like how restrictive it is. And how can they think they were miserable? Like I know what miserable is, right? They have no idea what miserable is. Like, why can't they see how much they can do, how free they are, and how lucky they are, you know? And when I started doing some self-reflection this week, it made me wonder why, like, maybe there's nothing wrong with them. Maybe my threshold for misery is just very high. But why is that? Like, why did I see all the limitations I had that I faced on a daily basis? Seating for doctor's appointments, seating if I wanted to go out to a restaurant with friends, seating if I wanted to go to a concert, like everything. Like I couldn't go to a fair, I couldn't go to a festival because there would be no place to sit, you know? Like, but I saw these as minor inconveniences instead of feeling like I was miserable and I was being held back from life. And part of that is I'm just a naturally positive person. I look for the silver lining, and that's one of the things I really like about myself, honestly. This may be kind of a downer video, and I'm sorry for that, but I am a positive person on the whole. Um, but how did I not catch on sooner that I was missing out on life, you know? And I feel like I've been given a second chance at living. Like I don't know how much longer I would have been around had I stayed 600 pounds. Like, I'm not saying everybody who's 600 pounds is not going to be around. That's not a statement that I'm making. What I'm saying is I was hospitalized multiple times at 600 pounds, and I don't know that I personally would have been around a lot longer. And um, it's like, why was I given a second chance at life? And my friend who passed away today was not, you know. She did a lot of good in the world. She gave a lot and didn't take a lot. And so cliche, I feel like she'd be laughing at that. Um, but I mean, she really cared about other people. And she put so much good into the world that if anybody deserved a second chance, it was her. And I don't know why I got a second chance, but I'm very grateful for it. And um, I'm very grateful for everything that has gotten me here and allowed me to get this far. And um, okay, that's basically all I wanted to say. I hope some of you can empathize and understand where I'm coming from. And like I said, I'll be working on trying to feel like I deserve a little bit more credit for my own weight loss. And let me give you some more positive, uplifting things to end this video on. I had an NSV this week. I walked 1.4 kilometers, which is almost a mile, 0.9 miles, at a stretch without stopping. And I did it twice, like a couple hours apart. I don't know that it's the first time for sure that I've walked that distance without stopping, but it's the first time it's been documented that I have. And it was actually easier than I expected it to be when I planned it. I planned it to kind of test myself, and it was easier than I thought. It wasn't bad. So I can do more than I think, and I'm going to keep pushing myself with the walks in the park and with doing things around the city. And I have a bunch of shout outs, really good things happening to people in the community. Dennis Finney, amazing person, just a wonderful human being. He hit Wonderland finally. He hasn't even hit his 1 year anniversary yet, and his 1 year surge anniversary. And he's gone from 384.3 pounds to 199.7 in less than a year. So really happy for him. Next week is actually his 1 year surge anniversary, and the same week is his 1 year wedding anniversary with his husband, and the finalization of his adoption of his husband's 2 kids. So next week is just going to be the most amazing week for him. I'm so happy for them. And little Aussie Mel, who's an Australian that I've been watching on YouTube, she's a really inspirational person as well. It's her 2 year surge anniversary, so congratulations on that. And Christina Rangel, I'll link her channel down below. She finally got her surgery date, and it's not far away, I think like 2 or 3 weeks. So very happy for her and pulling for her. So sorry for the long, depressing video, but I hope you guys understand. and I'll see you next week. Bye.